I'll tell you what, this angers me. And not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, not as anything political. This angers me as a human being. The way the guy that this country foolishly elected as president of the United States for a second time is flat out lying about what is happening with the fires in Los Angeles. He did this with the hurricane in North Carolina. He did it with the hurricane did he do it with the hurricane? Wasn't there another one before that? Forget it. Let's just stick with the North Carolina hurricane. This is not funny. It's not cool. It is nothing but dangerous and awful, terrible to do to your fellow Americans and just fellow human beings overall. If this does not anger you, if this doesn't give you some sort of pause and go, hey man, I voted for you, but enough's enough with that bullshit, because people are dying. People are getting burned out of their houses. Their houses are burning down. Maybe pets are trapped in there, which I can't even think about that because that'll drive me fucking insane. But they have done nothing but turn this into the most awful political thing that, again, this just really drives me nuts. Here is Anderson Cooper. He is over in LA, and he got a quick word in with the governor there of California, Gavin Newsom. And of course, because we have this absolute monster doing the shit that he's doing, he's got to sit here and fucking interview Gavin Newsom about his disinformation.
President-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Finally, your message.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sad situation, and you're really not even just turning it political. You're not even saying something like, I feel terrible for the people in Los Angeles. This is a horrible tragedy. I really hope everybody gets everything together and tries to find out. And then maybe if you want to criticize, which from my estimation, there's really no real criticism against Gavin Newsom in this. But anyway, if you wanted, there always is room for criticism, but to flat blame and lie about the criticisms that you are placing on not just Gavin Newsom, but California, you see these people like Jesse Waters who are showing pictures of the fire chief there, and he's inferring that it's a DEI hire because she's black. You have people in there who are black or gay or anything like that. To me, that's disgusting. I mean, that is just abhorrent, and it's just behavior that I don't know. This is not stuff that I ever grew up with. I did not grow up listening to this kind of nonsense and garbage, but this nonsense and garbage started 8 years ago when even Fox News back in the day, Fox News didn't even do anything as this terrible. Now, Fox News has always been biased and they've always been nutty, but they've never been this awful. They have just been flat awful. But here is CNN, somebody on CNN, and he goes over a full fact check over what Donald Trump had to say. But first, we're going to hear Donald Trump's words, and then you're going to hear all the fact checking on the particular things that he had to say, not just in this press conference, but beyond.
Gavin Newsom had an opportunity to have millions of gallons a week, a day, millions and millions of gallons come down from the north. And I was able to get him federal approval from that, from the Department of Commerce of all departments. I didn't realize it would go through Commerce. I would have thought environmental, but it goes through Commerce. I got all of the approvals, and he said, I don't want to sign it. I don't want the water.
CNN's Daniel Dale is joining us for a fact check of some of this. So, Daniel, can you tell us about what Trump said there? Is it true?
I showed a social media post from the president-elect yesterday to an expert in California water policy, a man named Jeffrey Mount. He said, Abby, none of it is true. So this has just been a staggering quantity of wrongness from the president-elect in a very short period of time. And there have been some small specific examples. Like he keeps saying that Governor Newsom refused to sign a so-called water restoration declaration. In fact, no such declaration even exists, as Newsom's office has pointed out. He also said yesterday that they're not using firefighting planes. We've seen those planes. They're there. But more than that, Abby, I think the president-elect has promoted an overarching false narrative. You heard a bit of it there, that the challenges we're seeing in the firefighting effort have something to do with a long-running policy battle about how much water should be kept in the north of the state to protect fish species like the Delta smelts and other environmental ecosystems, and how much should be sent to the south to help agricultural interests, farmers in an area called the Central Valley. Now, two water policy experts in California told me emphatically yesterday, none of this has anything to do with each other. There is simply no connection between the protection of that smelt fish in that estuary in the Delta in the north and what we're seeing in the south for a number of reasons. But number one, there is no shortage of water in the Los Angeles area. The reservoirs are at or above historical levels. The water is there. Now, we have seen high-profile issues in one part of the city, Pacific Palisades, where some hydrants were dry or did not have a lot of water. But that was not because there was not enough water in the region. That was because of technical, logistical, infrastructure issues related to the hilly, mountainous terrain and the location where water tanks have been situated. So the idea that not enough water has been sent down from the north and instead has been, protecting a little fish there, and that's why we're seeing these fires be hard to contain, simply does not bear out at all.
That's really important information there, Daniel. One other thing, Trump is talking about President Biden not leaving him any money with FEMA to deal with these wildfires. What are the facts around that?
It's just not true. We heard this from Trump after Hurricane Helene in the fall. It wasn't true then, and it's not true now. Now, it is true that FEMA's disaster relief fund was severely depleted by the number of disasters last year, but critically, Abby, it was replenished by the disaster relief supplemental bill that President Biden signed in December. I spoke to FEMA yesterday. They told me that there is approximately $27 billion today in that disaster relief fund, plus billions of dollars of additional disaster-related funding they have in other pockets of money. Now, it is true that $27 billion might well not be enough to cover the needs produced by every disaster we unfortunately end up seeing over the rest of 2025, but $27 billion is simply not no money, which is what Trump said yesterday.
Yeah. All right, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's absurd. He did this again with North Carolina, and I heard people who said, can you believe that Joe Biden is just ignoring the people of North Carolina and they have no money? FEMA had plenty of money at the time. FEMA, in fact, Joe Biden had set up emergency funding prior to the hurricane even hitting. But it went on as far as the people saying that Joe Biden was sitting in his office and he just wasn't doing anything. He didn't care about North Carolina. He was taking all the money and he was just sending it to Ukraine. First of all, most of the people on the MAGA side have no idea how this works, and they don't understand this. They don't understand that the aid to Ukraine isn't dollars necessarily. He didn't take money, write a check, and send them money. It was different, what's the word? Damn it. He was looking for military, for military equipment that was being sent over there that had a value on it. And once that value was placed, that's the amount of aid that was sent based on the value of the military equipment that was being sent over there. Military equipment that we haven't used, that we probably will never use, that was being sent over to Ukraine to help fight a war against one of our biggest enemies, Vladimir Putin and Russia. Anybody else that has a problem with this is being suckered by the right-wing propaganda media. How does anybody in this country, I want somebody to tell me, if you're over the age of, I don't even say, let's say 40 or 45, Tell me one time in your life you remember anybody siding with Russia as your pal and your buddy, as that somebody that is not somebody that the United States always needs to keep an eye out for. But now all of a sudden we have these people like Tucker Carlson going around and spreading to people that Putin's really the good guy and Ukraine's the bad guy here. What are you, insane? This is crazy. I have no idea what or how this happened to this country, but this is just absolutely crazy insane.